Hackers targeted the NFL's Twitter today. 3 tweets were posted shortly before 1 p.m. Eastern. The first one said, "We regret to inform our fans that our commissioner, Roger Goodell, has passed away. He was 57. Hashtag RIP." That was immediately deleted.
Then a second one minutes later came and it said, "Oi, I said Roger Goodell has died. Don't delete that tweet." Then a third one was posted. It said, okay, you amateur detectives win. Good job."
This comes after Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's Pinterest and Twitter accounts were breached over the weekend. A hacking group claimed it found his password on a LinkedIn database of user details leaked last month. Zuckerberg, along with Drake, Kylie Jenner, Bon Iver, have all recently been hacked, as well as Keith Richards and Tenacious D. It appears the NFL isn't the only one that's been a target. So joining us now to talk about this, Mashable tech editor Pete Paschal and CNET editor Brian Tong joining us from San Francisco. So Pete, to you first. It seems like a lot of these high-profile accounts have been hacked in the past. How did it happen, and why is it? Well, I can figure out why it's happening, but how is the question.
Well, I'm pretty sure, first of all, Tom Brady didn't hack the NFL account. Some people
I'm sure there were some irked Boston people that may have gotten in there.
Well, what happens is with these high-profile hacks that we hear about, and LinkedIn seems to be the one implicated here most, and that was all the way back in 2012. Hackers get a whole lot of logins and passwords en masse. And they can either sort of sell these things on the dark web, so to speak, or more often they get dumped on sort of one of these hacker sites. And then it's just there for the taking, and people take them and they'll use the password and they'll try out the password on other sites, because a lot of people, probably some people in this conversation, have reused passwords from site to site, and that actually includes Mark Zuckerberg, it turns out. So that's kind of the how this can happen. In terms of like how to protect yourself, I mean, the main takeaway here is do not use the same password, especially on major sites. With Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, those should all be mixed up, different, and hard to guess.
Ryan, can you break this down for us? How is it possible that in this day and age that this is happening?
I think what it comes down to is human nature. Think about how many services you have, whether it's financial, social, personal, sports websites, just personal interest websites. We've probably, without even thinking about it, have at least 20 to 30 different passwords for different sites that we use, let's say, on a weekly basis. And how are you going to really remember all of those? You're just not going to. Just like Pete kind of alluded to, I'm sure some of our passwords within these different clusters of interest are quite honestly the same, or they might have a different, maybe one extra character. Even at that, you're still going to forget one from the other. So it's just human nature to be like, I just want this to be easy. There are certain apps out there like 1Password that helps kind of collect them all, but you'll still need a password to use them. But again, we have so many different services. Everyone wants us to jump on different things, from Snapchat to Twitter to Facebook to Instagram. Like, how are you really going to be able to keep up with all this stuff without having the same password?
And that is the question, Pete, I guess. And Brian, you point out that there are already some apps that help you do that. But why doesn't somebody come up with an application that allows you to generate passwords for the sites that you use, where you might only need one specific password to get into that application, and then it can work on your Amazon, it can work on your Facebook, it can work on your Gmail. That's not out there yet, right?
That is there too, in bits and pieces. Even browsers and the Chrome will do this. It'll save all your passwords so you don't actually have to remember them. It's like a LastPass. But really, I'll do you one better. Let's move beyond the password entirely. Let's go to a completely different system of verification. And we do have companies that are working on this, including Twitter. Twitter has its Digits platform, which basically uses your phone number as your password. So you verify all of your logins with a text message, and because of that, you don't even have to remember the password, and you just verify that way. Another way is biometrics, fingerprints. Windows Hello is a great example of this. In Windows 10, if your hardware has the right kind of camera, you log into your computer just by looking at it. It can do facial recognition, and it is so detailed, it can tell identical twins apart.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable. So what's the bottom line here? What's the big takeaway from the hacking today?
Well, the big takeaway for everyday people, is, again and again, use different passwords for different sites. Use a password manager. Now, it's funny, like it's a bigger takeaway in this particular case than just having hard to guess passwords. Everyone's saying use 12 characters, use zeros, use signs. That's all good advice. But really, to my knowledge, I can't think of a high-profile hack that was actually a brute force hack, that someone just easily sort of guessed something. It's usually someone's password was compromised in a bigger hack and then found. So the key thing is, if you simply don't use the same password again and again, that will eliminate a large majority of these hacks.
Brian, what do you think's going on in the NFL offices today, or the social media person who runs that Twitter account for the NFL? Are they like sort of, we got to change every password on all of our social media accounts, or are they just like, oh, Twitter, somebody got into my Twitter account, let me just change that password and add a hashtag in the password before I move on?
I think the crazy thing about this is that once it was kind of revealed that it might have been hacked, they still actually didn't change the password to the account, right? And
Really?
that hacker was still able to comment on, oh, hey guys, okay, I guess you got me. Like after that initial hack, they still didn't lock it down. It makes it very difficult. Like even the response time on that was super late. I'm sure they had a warm feeling like across their body, up their neck. But just to add on to what Pete is talking about with just the advanced nature of how forget about the password. Look, people are getting more comfortable. It's not there yet here in the U.S., but they're getting more comfortable with using things like their fingerprint. We have Apple, Android platforms that support payment systems that use your fingerprint right now. Again, you have to actually have like a heartbeat. You can't just cut someone's finger off and use it. So that you actually have to have a living person being able to use this. But by getting users comfortable with that type of stuff, or Windows Hello, where you just look at the camera and it does it for you, that's the next level where we don't even have to remember anything. And that's hopefully as we get used to using our phones as wallets. Again, we're still not there yet, but it's starting to happen. Getting that behavior down and getting people comfortable with that's kind of one of those general steps towards the right direction.
So you won't have to, if you're trying to buy something on Amazon, send a proof of life finger to Amazon to make that purchase. We're
It's
not
all
there
right
yet.
here, baby. Yeah.
Pete Paschal and Brian Tong, thanks guys.